So, you made it to phase 2 of the 2026 Tools competition. First off, a huge congratulations. Now, the real work begins. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the scoring rubric to show you what it really takes to craft a proposal that stands out from the crowd. Okay, let's dive in.
First, let's just take a second to really let this sink in. During phase 1, the organizers saw over 1,400 applications. That is the incredible, massive field of ideas that you were up against.
And get this, out of that massive pool, only a quarter of teams were invited to move on. The very fact that you're watching this means your idea has already shown some serious promise. So you should feel really good about that. It's a huge accomplishment. All right, so you've cleared that first hurdle. Now, all eyes are on the full proposal, which is due January 21st. This is your moment to go way beyond the abstract and build the comprehensive, convincing case that lands you in that final pitch in April. So how exactly do you do that? Well, we're going to break down the 6 core criteria that the reviewers are going to use to score your proposal. We'll cover everything from your core impact all the way to showcasing your team. Think of this as your roadmap to a winning submission. First up, let's talk about impact. This is, without a doubt, the heart of your entire proposal. It's not just about what you're building, it's about the fundamental change you're trying to create in the world. This is the very first and maybe the most important story that you need to tell. And your main stage for telling that story is the 15,000 character project narrative. In this section, you have to lay out a crystal clear, evidence-backed theory of change. You've got to answer, who exactly are you serving? How does your solution actually work? And most importantly, why will it lead to concrete improvements in learning? And to make sure that impact feels real, the proposal now has this new expected outcomes table. This really pushes you to get specific. I mean, just look at this official example. You have to connect a clear outcome, like increased reading fluency, to a very specific metric and a solid plan for measuring it. This is how you show you're serious. This is how you build credibility. So that powerful why from your impact section leads us right into your methodology. If your impact is the vision, this section is the nuts and bolts blueprint for how you're going to make it happen. Look, a static one-and-done plan, that's just not going to cut it here. Reviewers are looking for a dynamic, living process for testing and iterating. You need to show them exactly how you'll build a prototype, get real feedback from users, analyze the data from that feedback, and then use what you learned to make your tool better. It's all about showing that you're committed to that cycle of improvement. Okay, now listen up, because this is a really crucial distinction that trips a lot of people up. The difference between methodology and learning engineering. Your methodology is all about perfecting your specific tool. But learning engineering, that's about how your work is going to contribute back to the entire field of learning science. Make sure you're crystal clear on the difference between the two in your proposal. All right, next up is a category that reviewers see as an absolute non-negotiable: safeguarding and equity. This is not an add-on. It's not a feature you tack on at the end. It's the fundamental bedrock of any responsible educational tool being built today, period. An outstanding proposal answers this very question, which, by the way, is pulled word for word from the rubric with a loud and clear yes. Reviewers need to see that you're treating accessibility as an engine for innovation, using things like universal design from day one, not just some compliance checkbox you tick off at the end of the project. And believe me, this goes deep. You need to show you have strong practices across the board. We're talking everything from technical data privacy and how you're mitigating algorithmic bias, to having a clear ethical framework, and, this is critical, proving that you are actively co-designing your tool with the very communities you want to serve. So, you've got this brilliant idea, right? But the big question on every reviewer's mind is, can it last? Does it have a future beyond this competition? This section is all about proving you've got a real sustainable plan. If you want to get a top score here, you have to move beyond just hoping for the best and into real strategy. You need to provide actual evidence of user demand. You need to show a credible path for growth with potential partnerships. And, maybe most importantly, you need a realistic plan for what happens when the prize money is gone. How will this work keep going? Your idea is amazing. Your plan is solid. But who is going to actually pull it off? At the end of the day, reviewers aren't just betting on ideas, they're betting on people. This section is where you prove you have the right team to deliver on your promise. So, what does a winning team look like in their eyes? Well, it's this really powerful combination of things. Of course, you need the technical chops and the content expertise, but just as important are diverse perspectives and the lived experience of your users. Having that authentic connection to your target community isn't just a nice to have, it's a massive credibility booster.
Okay, a quick but super important note on the budget. As you're putting together that one-page budget, you have to remember this hard and fast rule. Any indirect or overhead costs have to be capped at 10% of your total request. That's a small detail that you just can't afford to miss. Your submission also includes a little 30-second video. But hey, don't stress about production quality. This is not the place for a slick, polished demo. It's really just an informal, low-key chance for the organizers to connect a face and a human story to your proposal. Just be yourself. Be authentic. Remember, every single section we've talked about is scored on a scale from 0 to 4. But look closely at what it takes to get a 4. Outstanding. That means you didn't just meet expectations, you exceeded them with compelling evidence, creativity, and the potential to actually shape the field. Just meeting the requirements gets you a 2 or a 3. To win, you have to aim for outstanding. So, as you're refining every last section, from your theory of change all the way down to your budget, just boil it all down to this one simple question that the reviewers will be asking themselves over and over. Is this the right team to deliver on this promise? Make sure every single word in your proposal helps them reach a clear, confident, and resounding yes.